He's a sustainer. He said in chapter 5 and verse 8 that He is the one that can make the day night. He calls for the water. He is the one that can sustain all the natural world. In fact, it's a little clearer in Colossians. It says, by Him all things consist. He's the sustainer. He's the one that holds things together. And He says, if I can hold together the incredible forces of the universe, I can sustain you, no matter what you're going through. He's the restorer. This is a verse I referred to from James's sermon in Amos 9:11. I will raise up the tabernacle of David that's fallen. I will close the breaches. He says, I'm going to restore to their rightful place my people in the last day. He is also the Almighty. It says in Amos 5:16, therefore the Lord, the God of hosts, the Almighty God, the Lord of Sabaoth, the Lord of the armies. This is an amazing name. He is all-powerful. Remember, one angel killed 185,000 Assyrians. Just like that. And you know what? There wasn't any blood. There was no radiation. They were dead. It says when the commander woke up in the morning, they were dead. If one angel can kill 185,000, and he has countless angels, just the ones that always stand in front of His throne, Daniel says, there are hundreds of millions of them that do nothing but just stand in front of His throne. Hundreds of millions. Plus He has them all over the universe. He has ministering spirits all over. It says, are they not all ministering spirits, ministering for those who shall be heirs of salvation? Every person on this planet that God is drawing to Himself, there are ministering spirits watching over them and protecting them and guiding and helping them in the process. So there are countless, just myriads of angels. And He is the Almighty One. And if one of them can do that much, just think the power composite. And of course, God's power is so much more. Let's look at the book of Amos like you would if you were in class. Okay, let me just go through the main items. First of all, the writer of this book was Amos. The name means to bear a burden or a burden bearer. He was reared in Tekoa. Now, I pastored in Tekoa, Georgia. This is Tekoa, Israel. And it's approximately 6 miles south of Bethlehem, about 18 miles from the Dead Sea, south of Jerusalem, south of Bethlehem. He was a shepherd or a sheep breeder. He also gathered sycamore fruit, and he was a rugged, out-of-doors type of man, a little different than the society of Israel. And unlike Hosea, Amos presented a straightforward message of political and spiritual justice to the political and spiritual leadership of Israel. The recipients of this letter, although Amos lived in the south, he walked to the north to give the message. Now, can you imagine that? I mean, the height of insult. They knew he was from the south, and he has the audacity to come to the north. It'd be like in the Civil War or pre-Civil War days for a southern preacher to come up and preach in the north about, the virtues of slavery. Can you imagine they would tar and feather him. Well, here comes Amos from the south, from the goody two-shoes, followers of Jehovah, and he goes up to the calf worshippers and tells them what they're doing wrong. But he also didn't neglect. He spoke to the southern kingdom and also to the nations around. The background, this event took place in the 8th century. King Uzziah in Judah and King Jeroboam II are in Israel. They're both in a time of great prosperity. And here's the background. It says in chapter 3 that there was an upper class society. It used to be that there was the king and the peasants. That's how it was. But in this time, there had emerged a upper middle and upper class society. How do we know that? Because they built expensive homes, 315 and 511 and 6:4 and 6:11. They had a very carnal lifestyle, chapter 6 says. They exploited the poor in chapter 2, 5, and 10, or 2, 5, 6, and 8. There was political corruption. There was a lot of this bribery going on in chapter 3, 9, and 10. There was a lot of religious fervor, but there was no true devotion to God. How do we know that? Because the merchants did not observe they did observe the Sabbath, new moon, and feast days, but it didn't keep them from being dishonest. And they complained they had to close their stores on the religious days. So what it was kind of an empty, shallow externalism of religiosity, but there was no transformed heart. Chapter 8, verses 4 through 6 say. When was this book written? About the year 760. What is the theme? The theme of this book is judgment will come on Israel. Prepare to meet your God. If you're not prepared, you're doomed.